Back now to that breaking news on the emergency at Birmingham Shuttlesworth International Airport.
And the Jefferson County Health Department is telling us tonight that this is not an Ebola case, as many people had been speculating. There's a live look at the airport, the Birmingham Shuttlesworth International Airport, where obviously you can see a very large scene with ambulances and fire crews. We also can tell you that in just a few moments, we will be going to a live press conference featuring Birmingham Fire Battalion Chief C.W. Mardis. Obviously, a lot of questions that need to be answered, Sherry, here tonight. We can also tell our viewers tonight that the passenger in question, the passenger who had been vomiting that prompted this large response here at the airport, is from Jordan.
And this shows some of the protocol, Trent. We do have a crew at the Jefferson County Health Department where they will be doing a simultaneous news conference to talk about the information you just shared on what they've learned about the passenger and why they do not think this is a case of Ebola. But as we said, lots of people already responding there. Captain C.W. Mardis with the Birmingham Fire Department will be addressing the media shortly. We're waiting on him to come out. But this emergency has certainly given them an opportunity to kind of test some of the protocols that they have in place. And
some of the questions that we'd like to have answered at the Health Department press conference is why they ruled Ebola out, because they determined this fairly quickly. I believe the person came in around 3:20 or so and had people were saying possible symptoms of Ebola, yet they have ruled that out at this point, which is great news. But it would be interesting to go through that and to pick their brain a little bit about why they made that determination.
As we saw with Mike McClanahan's story, ambulance services are preparing to see what they need to do to keep people safe, and so they are as well. So hopefully Captain Mardis will talk about why they had the response that they had, and certainly a week ago, would this have been the response? That's something we're all curious about.
Absolutely. Once again, he is coming up in a live press conference. C.W. Mardis from the Birmingham Fire Department, one of the leading spokespersons there to get the very latest to hear about the response, what they have seen in this patient. Obviously, it was a very quick response, and you can see taking plenty of precautions, wearing protective gear, and as you know, Sherry, they're really ramping up the training quickly for a number of employees in different fields, anyone from doctors to rescue workers.
And for our viewers, this is a live look at what's going on at the airport right now. One of our photographers, a very good vantage point that you can see in action. You see them in the white suits. You see them walking around, even though even at this point they are saying that the person does not have Ebola. It's not an Ebola concern, but you still see those precautions being in place, and that's important when you think about when you go into an area where you may need health care, that people are making sure they're doing what they need to do to protect themselves and therefore protect you.
And Sherry, we are getting a clarification we want to pass along, because as you can imagine out there, if you're watching, the information we're getting is coming in fast and furious. The health department feels like they do not believe at this point it is not Ebola. They are not saying it is not Ebola. So again, a qualifying word in there, they do not believe, but at this point they don't have any indication to suspect that this is indeed a case of Ebola. But I'm sure this person will be given every test possible to make sure that it is not.
Well, and that's interesting that they say at this point, because how can they say so soon that they do not believe it is? That certainly does not negate the necessity to be careful with how you're handling the situation. So,
and that was my question. How did they determine that so quickly? Not even 2 hours after the person has landed, did they make that determination? Again, closing the door on one of the ambulances, and they are taking a leisurely pace. So hopefully that is a positive sign that the person here is being treated for. As someone has said, I heard earlier today, lots of people get sick on an airplane. It's not the first or last person.
All right, we're going to go ahead and listen in on Captain C.W. Mardis with Birmingham Fire, who they are there on the scene. Let's hear what he's saying.
Okay. All right, you live? You go? Okay, all right. As you all know, this evening we had a flight to come in, United Flight 4602. We had a report of a patient that was diaphoretic, nausea, and vomiting. The plane landed safely. We did go on and isolated the plane at that point, kept the passengers in place until we got further clarification. We have been in touch with Dr. Mark Wilson of the Jefferson County Health Department. He ran a background check on the entire situation and the person in question, and he determined that it was not a threat. So right now we do not have a threat. We have 40 people on the plane. They are being deplaned right now, and hopefully in a few minutes everything will be turned back to normal.
All right, Chief, where was the flight from?
The flight originated from Chicago.
What was the demeanor of the people on board?
Well, of course, they were concerned and, trying to figure out what exactly happened. But like we said, that after conferring with Dr. Wilson, we were able to dispel any rumors and to, calm everybody down. So right now, like I said, there's no creditable threat.
Mardis, did you say where the patient is being transported to?
He'll be transported to UAB. That's just as a precaution and because he was sick. He was nauseated and vomiting. But like we said, Dr. Wilson from Jefferson County Health Department said it won't be related to anything other than just being nauseated at this point.
Not related to Ebola.
Not.
I just missed the whole first part.
Yeah, can you do a recap? Because a lot of people, can you just recap again, please,
Just
Chief?
start over.
United Flight 4602 landed in Birmingham. We had a report of a patient on the plane that was sick, diaphoretic, vomiting, and nauseated. We isolated the incident. There were 40 people on the plane. We have transported the patient to UAB Hospital. Dr. Mark Wilson from the Jefferson County Health Department had tracked this guy and ran his history, his medical history, and also his travel log, and we determined that he was not a threat. He is transported to UAB because he's sick. It is not related to any Ebola that we know of at this point.
How much did the national attention on Ebola change how y'all approach the situation?
Well, anytime you have a threat or any kind of situation like that, you prepare for it. So all the way from the state to the local, to the city, even to the fire department, we have protocols, procedures, and policies already in place in anticipation of a situation like this. So basically what we did was take everything into a precautionary phase, so we didn't want to just overlook any one thing. But after conferring, like I said, with Dr. Wilson from the health department, we're pretty safe at this point.
Is this a pretty new procedure and protocol for Ebola?
Yeah, we put these procedures in place probably, within the last month or so.
All right, Chief, and I know there's a protocol involved, but first the Emergency Management Agency officials said these are Ebola-like symptoms. Those were their
Well,
words.
flu is Ebola-like symptoms. So, there could be a number of things as far as that goes. So, you can't jump the gun on anything like that. Like I say, the health department has tracked the guy, and they know that it is not a problem at this point.
And how do you think things played out? I mean, you guys were on it, scattered.
Yeah, it comes from, like we say, the policies were in place. We want to give credit to the airport authority for their quick response and the cooperation that they gave us, also to United Airlines and to the actual passengers on the plane, all the way down to the first responders. I think everything went according to plan, and we're just fortunate that we're going to come out of this thing looking pretty good.
Should people be concerned about flying right now?
No, there's no danger at all.
Can you elaborate on that?
Well, like we said, it was just a person sick. People get sick on airplanes all the time, unfortunately. But this was not an Ebola threat, according to the Jefferson County Health Department. So, I mean, hey, you're safe to fly. Matter of fact, I'll be flying in a few days myself.
And then when the call came through medical emergency, person sick, can you kind of explain what went through the mind of these emergency crews considering the concern of
And you've been hearing from C.W. Mardis with the Birmingham Fire Department in Cherry. Really, the most important words we heard coming out of that press conference are, "We do not have a threat."
Reassuring everybody with concerns and the updates from the Jefferson County Health Department that there is not a person with Ebola on that plane. They don't believe that to be the case. Stay with us. We'll be right back.